It feels like Sam Pittman's time in beautiful Fayetteville, Arkansas is coming to an end. So here on CFB Now by Chat Sports, we're going to break down 10 replacements that could potentially take over as the Razorbacks head coach if Sam Pittman gets fired. Now, for what it's worth, I want to make sure one thing is very, very clear. Sam Pittman has not been fired, but things are not going well for the Razorbacks, and if Hunter Yurachek can have the stones and the backbone to make a tough decision and follow suit like Oklahoma State just did with Mike Gundy, then some changes are expected to be made for the Razorbacks. Now, I will say around this job, it is a tough one to take, but the Arkansas Razorbacks, they need change. An offensive line coach, fine. It was a good story. He came in, helped bring the program back to life, right, especially right after the pandemic. But at the end of the day, it just isn't good enough. Razorback fans are fed up. I'm fed up. So we're going to talk about a potential head coaching replacement for Sam Pittman. Now, grade the Arkansas job for me. Obviously, you're playing in the SEC. Obviously, you have a lot of tough teams that you're going to face, and it's no mystery. The Razorbacks are not the greatest situation in the whole wide world. So grade the job for me, A, B, C, D, or F. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm a Razorback grad. I'm going to go with the B. Now, for what it's worth, I can tell you right now, speaking from the fan base of the Arkansas Razorbacks, proud alum from 2021, the Arkansas Razorback fan base is tired of mediocrity. They are tired of doing just okay. They're tired of seeing their coaching staff, their football team, their basketball team, baseball team, everything come so close to glory and then just have it slip right from underneath them. They're called the Heartbreak Hogs for a reason. So let's dive into 10 guys who could potentially change the vibes in Fayetteville. First one being the obvious one, Jon Gruden, the former head coach from the National Football League, currently working with Barstool Sports. I can tell you right now, I would absolutely be thrilled to see Jon Gruden take over because he would be a wild card. And for what it's worth, I think that the Arkansas Razorbacks need a little bit of a wild card. You had a safe bet with Sam Pittman. It hasn't really gone all that well. There's been some good moments. There's been a lot more bad moments. And in one-possession ball games, the Arkansas Razorbacks are terrible. And I can tell you right now, I think Gruden would bring some juice to this team. He's a guy who's very passionate about the game of football. Clearly, he's crazy about the Hogs. Love this picture. Just had to conclude it one way or another. But I do think that the Razorbacks need juice on the coaching staff. They need somebody to bring some energy back to the Razorbacks. And they need somebody who, quite frankly, is going to get the fan base back engaged and back involved because it is a very passionate fan base, but they're also very vocal when they're not happy. So maybe Jon Gruden could be a guy who could right the ship. Bobby Petrino is an internal option. We all know what happened last time Bobby Petrino was the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. But hey, Motorbike Bobby could be a really fun guy to have be the head honcho once again. My question, though, is would Petrino even want the head coaching job? Because if you are a head coach, then I personally think for Petrino, he might sit here and be like, I don't want all that pressure. I don't want to be the guy who has to fix everything. I like just calling the offense, having my unit do well, and that be my thing. And for what it's worth, I don't blame Bobby Petrino in that regard. I don't necessarily know if he would want to be a head coach for the Razorbacks or even again at all, but I can tell you right now, he's been very, very impressive. Taylen Green in the Arkansas Razorbacks offense is flying like crazy. Despite a 2-2 record, the offense has not been an issue. It's mostly been the defense. Now, John Sumrall is a very popular name amongst these coaching hot boards because he's a proven winner. He's the head coach over at Tulane, and he has a ton of experience as well. An overall coaching record, or head coaching record, 35-10. He's a defensive coach at Tulane, spent some time at Ole Miss, spent some time at Kentucky, then was a head coach at Troy, came back to Tulane, and he has climbed the coaching rankings. I think he would be an excellent option. Tulane has a great situation going on right now. They are one of the better teams in, this group of five, the mid-major guys. I think that Tulane is a team that could potentially make a playoff with Sumrall at the helm. Colin Klein, another name that I think could be really interesting. It would be wild to see Aggie stay in the SEC, go to Arkansas, considering that little rivalry they have going on in the Southwest Classic. I can tell you for Klein, I really do like the idea of bringing him to Fayetteville. He's done a really nice job with Marcel Reed. He looks absolutely awesome this season. And I think for Colin Klein, I think it could be a good guy to have coach a quarterback. I mean, you think about Arkansas Razorback quarterback situations of the past few years. You got Taylen Green, KJ Jefferson, Felipe Franks. It's kind of just been okay. None of those names are like, oh my gosh, holy cow, these guys are dogs. They put up some good stuff, but I think that Colin Klein could be an interesting name to work with the quarterback and potentially being the best out of that player. Now, Gus Malzahn, he is a really, really interesting name. And for what it's worth, I did hit up some of my homies who are also Razorback grads. I was like, hey, who do you guys want to see? I want to make sure you guys have a little bit of a pulse on this video as well. And I can tell you, I think this would be an interesting addition considering the ties that he has, not just to the University of Arkansas, but to the state. He went to high school in Fort Smith, which isn't too far away from Fayetteville. He was a walk-on wide receiver for the Hogs in 1984 and 1985, transferred over to Henderson State, played for the Reddies in Arkadelphia from in 1982. And he started coaching in high school in Arkansas, which is pretty cool. He spent some time over at Shiloh Christian and in Springdale High School. So if you're from the Northwest Arkansas area, those are two schools you're like, oh, wait, I know that. I've heard of those. So maybe that would be an interesting addition because of the ties. He was also an offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach in 2006 before moving over to Tulsa, taking over as the assistant head coach and quarterbacks coach and co-offensive coordinator. So Gus Malzahn has ties to the Razorbacks. Maybe that's a guy that Hunter Yurachek could bring back to Fayetteville. Now, name a possible replacement for Sam Pittman. I want you to get in the comments section and sound off right here, right now. I've given you 5. I got 5 more to give you, but I want you to give me 1. Now, really quick, today's presenting sponsor is Prize Picks. This episode of CFB Now, brought to you by the best daily fantasy sports app in the whole wide world. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. I always tell my girlfriend, hey, you're always right. You know everything. Download Prize Picks and maybe we can get out of a 1-bedroom apartment. Don't miss on any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's always good to be right. Here's some picks I'm rolling with for college football this week. Wanted to stick on the theme of the Hogs. So Braylon Russell, I think he's going to find the end zone once against Notre Dame. I think that is an interesting matchup. Georgia versus Alabama, I'm going with the less on Ty Simpson passing yards. And for Penn State versus Oregon, going Dante Moore on his yards as well. So if you want to fade these picks, you want to tail these picks, don't care what you do, just make sure you do it at Prize Picks. They put their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this season. They also offer injury reboots, so if one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks will not count it as a loss, which is absolutely awesome. So download the app today, use code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Reminder, that's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All that information is available in the comments and description of this video, so shout out to Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. So let's talk about another really interesting name with a ton of ties to the Razorbacks. Rhett Lashley has been a red-hot name for this Sam Pittman replacement conversation. He's from Springdale, Arkansas. He was the backup quarterback to Matt Jones in 2002 to 2004. He coached over at Springdale in 2004 to 2005, which is pretty cool. Arkansas graduate assistant in 2006. Tons of ties to the Razorbacks. He was a part of the Malzahn coaching tree, actually followed him to Arkansas, and he helped turn SMU into an ACC contender. Remember, SMU was just recently in the college football playoff. And they have a really, really high-powered offense and a strong in-state recruiting class. And I know a lot of Razorback fans are really upset that the Arkansas Razorbacks are losing in-state recruits to other schools. And it's really crazy when you see some of these 3, 4, 5-star guys coming out of Arkansas, and they're going out of state to go play somewhere else. You would want those guys to stay in. So maybe Rhett Lashley could help that be a thing. For what it's worth, I want to make sure you guys do know he recently signed an extension with SMU. So if Arkansas wants to bring him to Fayetteville, you're going to have to pay up. So Jerry Jones, JB Hunt, Tyson Chicken, Walmart, going to have to dip into those pockets right there. Let's talk about a coach who just recently got fired. Mike Gundy, recently fired by the Oklahoma State Cowboys. My little brother is a student at OSU, so I can tell you right now, him and his friends, they were like, you know what, it was long overdue. For what it's worth, I don't necessarily think this would be a great idea for the Razorbacks. He is a winner. He is a guy who has an 170 and 90 overall record, 12 bowl wins, 8 10-win seasons, but he lets his pride get in the way. He let his pride get in the way at Oklahoma State. I personally think he should have just retired last year. I really don't love this option for the Arkansas Razorbacks because I just don't know if he is a guy who would be interested in this job, and I don't know if he's somebody who you want to bring in. He just got fired, had a whole bad situation in Oklahoma State. But don't forget, the Cowboys were just recently playing for the Big 12 championship against Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns a couple years ago. So, maybe it's his supporting coaching staff. I know that they're one of their defensive coaches, Todd Grantham, who is known as a football just horrible coach. He's not well liked in the National Football League. He got fired by the Saints, brought into Oklahoma State. Maybe that's a big problem over there. But I can tell you right now for Gundy, he lets his pride get in the way at Oklahoma State. I don't know if it would make a ton of sense, but he is available, and maybe the Hogs could go on a full court press to bring him in to Fayetteville. Now, Will Stein, the offensive coordinator over at Oregon, I think would be an awesome hire because I think that the Arkansas Razorbacks offense is good, but they need somebody who can turn good into great. And Oregon has one of the best and most productive offenses in the country, but so does Arkansas. The Razorbacks have been able to put up a ton of yardage. They've been able to put up a lot of points. But the defense in Fayetteville has just been an absolute joke. So obviously he's an offensive coach, and obviously an offensive coach isn't 100% going to fix the defense, but he is a guy who can get the best out of his offensive side of the football, and I do think that he could be a good consideration for the Razorbacks. I do think it would be hard for him to say, yeah, I'll take the upgraded position, but in a worse situation. I mean, Oregon runs the conference, and they're going to be doing just fine. I don't see why he would want to leave. That being said, if I'm on a Yurachek, I'm making a call. Another guy I'm picking up the phone for that I'm foaming at the mouth to go and hire is G.J. Kinney, one of my favorite coaching guys out there in all of college football. I mean, he has skyrocketed up the coaching rankings, in my opinion. He has quickly made a name for himself. Listen to this. He has a ton of quarterback experience in the NFL, the Canadian Football League. He also even played in arena football. He was an offensive assistant at Arkansas in 2018. That was actually his second coaching job. He was the head coach of Incarnate Ward for one season, and he led them to be the Southland Conference champions, to the Southland Conference championship in his first and only season. They had number one in all of Division I. So this is FBS and FCS included. The number one offense in points per game with 51.5 and 581.2 yards per game at Incarnate Ward. Absolutely insane to get that out of that kind of school. He also led Texas State to their first ever bowl game, recently signed a 7-year contract with the Bobcats to keep him in San Marcos. He signed that back in November of 2024, and this is going to be a tough one to pull him from because Texas State is about to move to the Pac-12. So I doubt that G.J. Kinney is going to want to leave that opportunity to pick up and go build from scratch with the Arkansas Razorbacks, who are already in a tough conference, whereas you can go into the conference and try to take over and be a dominant team in that regard. I just don't see a world where G.J. Kinney wants to leave Texas State. Like, it's crazy to say that, but he's got a good thing brewing down in San Marcos, and the Bobcats are long overdue for a great coach like him, so it's nice to see him do well for Texas State. A little bit of a personal tie there. Both my parents went to Texas State, so eat them up, Cats. Ryan Silverfield, Memphis head coach. Now, this one's ironic because if you hop in your time machine to last weekend, Silverfield just kicked the teeth in of Sam Pittman's football team. And it wasn't an absolute bludgeoning. The Razorbacks dominated in all aspects except for the scoreboard. Their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. They just lost to Memphis and Ryan Silverfield, 32-31 in Memphis. Now, for what it's worth, Ryan Silverfield has the Memphis Tigers rolling right now. They have had back-to-back 10-win seasons, he has had back-to-back 10-win seasons, 25-5 record since the start of 2023. Listen to this. In the last 19 games, 17-2 with a 4-0 start this year. He has 5 wins over Power 4 opponents. He has experience at every level of coaching, high school, college, and professional on both sides of the football. Worth noting, not a ton of Power 4 experience, but he has an overall college record of 46-21. So Ryan Silverfield knows how to beat Power 4 teams, just beat the Razorbacks. Maybe he is a guy who could get a call. I don't know if he would take the job, but Memphis and Fayetteville, only about 4.5 hours away, so it wouldn't be too much of a change of scenery if you wanted to take that job. Now, let me ask you what you think. Will Sam Pittman get fired before Halloween? I'm going to go ahead and make the statement. Pittman is fired by Halloween of this year. True or false? Get in the comment section. Share your thoughts. I want to hear from you. Now, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's video. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. We have a plethora of awesome hosts here at Chat Sports that provide college football, NFL, and NBA coverage every single day here. So I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you want more sports content on your YouTube feed.